I'm just gonna record, so.
Were you gonna cut that out? Hey yo, yo, yo.
You know
You gotta ring it.
Hey, no.
Okay. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. These words were heard during Trump rallies all over the United States throughout the campaign of our now President-elect Donald Trump. Mr. Trump's selling point for his foreign policy was the building of a wall along the border with Mexico to prevent the flow of illegal immigrants entering the United States. In my speech, I would like to look at Mr. Trump's proposal and to suggest a different course of action. First of all, I would like to focus on the cost, or the projected cost, of Mr. Trump's wall. According to PolitiFact.com, Mr. Trump's estimated cost of the wall would be anywhere from about $8 to $12 billion. But however, in more recent estimates by experts, the Huffington Post projected that such a wall would cost around $25 billion. To put that in perspective, the money put towards the wall could build about 1,500 new elementary schools, send about 300,000 veterans to college, or build renewable energy for about 5 million houses. Essentially, putting the money put towards the wall could be put towards making America great again, in the words of Mr. Trump, instead of wasting our tax dollars on an enormous wall. Another cost of building the wall would inevitably damage our relations with Mexico, one of our largest trade partners. According to the U.S. Trade Representative, the United States traded over $580 billion of goods and services with Mexico in 2015. Hurting our relationship with our third largest trade partner could be devastating to the economy. This should be avoided at all costs. In the end, the financial cost of building a wall like the one President-elect Trump is proposing could be put to much better use and avoid damaging relations with one of our largest trade partners. Furthermore, I'd like to point out some of the holes in Mr. Trump's theory, or in Mr. Trump's wall. Throughout his campaign, Mr. Trump claimed that he was going to make Mexico pay for the wall. First, this statement is based on Mr. Trump's estimates for the wall. PolitiFact.com quotes Mr. Trump's campaign page saying, "It's an easy decision for Mexico, making a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion to ensure that $24 billion continues to flow into their country year after year." This is a lie. As I stated before, the wall would cost somewhere around $25 billion, not the $5 to $10 billion that Mr. Trump proposes. Moreover, PolitiFact.com gathered a statement from Mexican President Enrique Nieto explicitly saying that there is no way that Mexico is going to pay for that wall. Finally, Trump's proposed reasoning for paying for the wall comes from the trade deficit between Mexico and the United States, which is about $50 billion. This is not how politics or even economics works. Both PolitiFact.com and Business Insider agree. Using the trade deficit to force Mexico to pay for the wall simply does not work. Mexico does not owe the United States $50 billion in debt. Simply put, the United States buys more goods and services than it sells to Mexico. Using this kind of ideology when coming to foreign policy is childish. All in all, Mr. Trump's plan for building the wall has some major holes in it which need to be addressed by Congress should Mr. Trump propose this wall. My final point today is to offer up a solution, Mr. Trump. A more reasonable alternative and much more cost-effective option to building a wall. First, I would like to state that Mr. Trump's sentiment towards the illegal immigrants is actually in the minority in the United States. The Pew Research Center did a study and found that about 72% of Americans believe the illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay if they meet certain requirements. The Pew Research Center also found that 26% of Americans believe that the undocumented immigrants should be allowed to apply for permanent citizenship. In a similar study done by the Huffington Post, 75% of Americans agree that granting citizenship to the 11 million illegal immigrants living in the United States would boost the economy. According to the Huffington Post, granting citizenship to these undocumented immigrants would reduce the government's debt by $197 billion in the next 10 years, and buy an added $200 billion on top of that in the next 20 years. The solution I wish to offer up is very simple. I ask Mr. Trump to allow the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States to be granted citizenship. By increasing the number of people that can be taxed by 11 million, we can help reduce our nation's growing debt and cut back on border patrol. In conclusion, I wish to offer President-elect Trump an alternative to building a high-cost, low-reward wall which could hurt our relationship with Mexico. Instead of spending $25 billion to build a wall and more to maintain it, I propose that Mr. Trump grant citizenship to the 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. By doing this, we can help dig the United States out of debt and help pay for expensive programs like Social Security and Medicaid. Thank you.